the Wirral Peninsula between the rivers Dee and Mersey just prior to the Second World War. Apart from an industrial strip on the eastern side covering parts of Wallasey, Birkenhead and Bevington on the banks of the Mersey, Wirral was largely a series of rural villages situated in farming country. Here at Thurstaston on the Dee coast, we can see typical farming scenes of the 30s, showing ploughing and harvesting with what looks like machinery from another age. Everything is peaceful, and no one could have imagined that war was just around the corner. The Guard is a cheerful soul on the country railway linking Hooton with West Kirby. West Kirby Lake, where there are signs of military activity, but the RAF were not very successful with this training flight. Thankfully, the water was not very deep and the aircraft was later recovered. Over on the Mersey, the aircraft carrier Ark Royal, recently built by Camellards, is at anchor. German propaganda frequently and falsely claimed its destruction long before it was actually sunk by enemy action. A sign of the times. Gas masks are issued in Wallasey in preparation for possible gas attack. Gas was used to devastating effect in the First World War only just over 20 years previously, and was supposed now to be a banned weapon, but no chances were to be taken. After being fitted for size, you were expected to carry it with you wherever you went, and children had to carry them to school each day. Open spaces were used for the construction of air raid shelters or tank traps. The barrage balloon, designed to deter enemy aircraft from low-level flying, would become a familiar sight. Many children were evacuated by train to safer havens. Those too old for call-up or in protected occupations could become part of the Home Guard, or Dad's Army, as it was affectionately called. Here, the Home Guard, ever ready to defend the country, take part in a training session. What a good target. Exercise over and time for refreshment. To many, it must have seemed reminiscent of a Boy Scout camp from their younger days. You could have been part of the civil defence who are practising rescue work in Wallasey. Another alternative would be to be a member of the fire service. All of these, the Home Guard, Civil Defence and the Fire Service, would have their resources fully stretched in the bombing raids of 1940 and 1941. Meanwhile, other aspects of life carried on as normal. In 1940, Chester Motor Club, with many Wirral members, held their first wartime event, a motorcycle scramble on Helsby Hill. Control was difficult at times on the slippery grass slopes. The Echo reporter. You had to have nerves of steel to ride as a passenger in the sidecar event. Not many miles away, a simple pleasure for some was to swim in the Manchester Ship Canal at Ellesmere Port. You took your life in your hands, and a watchful eye was needed to look out for shipping. More pleasurable was Riverca Open Air Pool to the north side of Ellesmere Port. A popular open-air pool, it closed in later years with the coming of indoor pools. Perhaps we were a hardier race in those days. August 1941, and the first bomb on Merseyside was dropped on a house in Osmaston Road, Prenton, and a servant girl killed. Unfortunately, no movie records exist of Wirral's bombing, and these scenes, filmed in Liverpool, give an idea of the devastation in parts of Wallasey, Birkenhead and Bevington. They're typical of many in Wirral between August 1940 and the heavy bombing of early May 1941, after which raids virtually ceased as Hitler turned his attention to Russia. On Merseyside, 120,000 houses were damaged or destroyed. In the 8 days of the May Blitz of 1941, more people were killed than in the previous 9 months' bombing. Over the months of bombing, Birkenhead suffered 400 dead and Wallasey 300.